know who's in here. Hey, African Violet, what's up? You said I saw Grumpy. I had to come get Grumpy stories. Y'all funny as hell. Hey, Chicago, what's up? Well, that's gonna be part of the Grumpy story right now. Day's going okay. I'm 107 miles from where I'm supposed to deliver this load, and I have to shut down, which is only 2 hours. And I had enough time. I would have been a little bit over, but I had enough time to squeeze right in there. But we have tornado warnings, so Grumpy called me because I told him I'm gonna be in tonight. He's like, "What time you coming in the morning?" I said, "Bro, I ain't say nothing about morning, but maybe that was prophetic. I don't, I don't know." Hey, Judy Drone, I'm doing all right. I'm shut down here in Clovis, and y'all see that? If y'all saw the thumbnail, let me turn this around so y'all can see what's coming. Hey, Michelle Horn, let me show y'all what's coming. So y'all see that right there? And this is what I just came through. It's that nice, beautiful blue sky. You see that? So let me put that back up. So Grumpy called. He's like, "Oh, where you at?" I said, "Well, at that point, I was in coming. I had just dropped out of Santa Rosa, coming on 84. I said, I'm on 84. I'm just out of side of about that time about 55, 60 miles from Clovis. Well, they said they have a tornado possibly in Plainview, and we got tornado warnings all up along 84 going into. Yeah, it's nice here too. It's like warm, but they got the storm coming in. So I guess they got a storm coming through. He said 88 degrees is probably about that right here, right now. And I had winds coming out of Santa Rosa that were a little thick, but not too bad. I'm not real heavy though. I'm probably 25,000 maybe, if that, in the box. Not a lot. So I'm not heavy enough to risk it because obviously thunderstorms are going to bring in strong winds. So at this point, I told him, I said, well, I didn't realize I was going to come into Clovis. I just know I come 84. Sometimes I'm still getting used to the cities. I should have known this was Clovis. I come through it and there's a Loves I stay at if I get stuck here. Well, sure enough, as I'm coming through, oh, hell no, Chicago, BBW. Girl, we done roll the truck fight. Ain't no way in hell. Look, being in a house, being in an apartment with him is probably about, I don't know if his apartment is even 700 square feet. I'd be ready to lose my damn mind. Ain't no way in hell I could be up in a small cab with him. Ooh, hell to the no. Uh-uh. Right, and with the pee smell, you, ooh, mm, I can't. I can't. I knew what you was talking about, Micheline. I knew. I can't. Look, I walk in the house like, I don't know how you just be in there asleep. How you sleep in that? I don't know. Anyway, anyway, he trifling. The brother is trifling. Anyway, so, but he was nice enough to call. He's like, well, I'm just letting you know. And I said, well, I kind of had a feeling something was up because as I was coming in, when I hit Clovis, so in front of me, I'm gonna turn this around one more time. This train track here, that train track here, that's his train track. That's the company he worked for, BBW. This is BBW. Shoot, Burlington Northern. This is Burlington Northern Santa Fe. I said BBW because I was just reading your comments. This is Burlington Northern Santa Fe's track. Well, as I came in, those trains usually be kicking ass. They be going, them trains be going like fast. And so he told me, he said, that track is 70 miles an hour. I said, well, Negro on that track driving right now, that ninja ain't going, he ain't going no 70 miles an hour. I said, so when I saw the train slow down, I slowed down. And I'm like, if they slow down like this, so the road was 65. And y'all know, I don't know if y'all ever seen trains move. Trains, they fast when they tell you don't cross some tracks because they can't stop them trains on a dime. And the train companies are told that even if you are on that, if you get on the train tracks, they're not they're not to stop because if they stop, they can basically make the train jump the track, which is the worst accident. So they're to hit you. That's I'm gonna let y'all know. When the train tracks say stop, hey brown sugar, what's up? When the train tracks say stop, you need to stop. I'm just saying. If you go or you get stuck, then you just done because they are told to run your ass over. I'm just saying. My dad told me, he said, anytime you're on that train, he said, if that thing go down, the lights come on, stop that truck. Stop whatever you're driving. Because we are told to run y'all over if y'all get on them tracks and we coming and you don't stop. They go right through you. Um, until they can come to a safe, normal stop. Yep, yep. Child, I don't understand motorists. If you ain't scared of a train and a truck, I already know if you ain't scared of a truck, but you should damn sure the train. You see how long that is, and how much metal that is, and how fast they go. It's not an argument. You need me to stop? I'm gonna stop. I like to breathe. I'm sorry. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. And the race to the finish, you win. I'm just gonna sit here and wait. I ain't got no race with you. None. Zero. Um, but anyway, so he called me to tell me. He said that they had, I think they either spotted a tornado. One was south, and then one was up in Plainview where my the two brothers live. And so I said, well, let me get because I was gonna be in Lubbock tonight. I was like, I'm gonna be in Lubbock tonight. I have till 7 in the morning, so I'm close. I'm less than 2 hours away. But I was gonna be in Lubbock tonight. So what I end up doing is once this passes, I'll do a split and going in. Because I'm only 2 hours out, if that. Yeah, just barely 2 hours outside of Lubbock. Like I said, 107 miles. My one of V Griffiths, my best friend, is in West Palm, and she be on the phone with me talking to them crazy ass people. Hey, Cat Eyes, I didn't see you come in. To anybody who came in, let me see here. African Violet, hello. Micheline, I said hello. Chicago BBW, I said hello. Judy Drone, I got you. Michelle Horn, I got you. Who else is in here? Cat Eyes, what's up? Let's see here. All right, I got everybody. Hola, hello. So yeah, so right now I'm stuck here in Clovis. I'm watching the testosterone cowboys drive into it, and he said, yeah, they said that if you coming through there, that they didn't recommend coming Highway 84 in, that you should shut down until this storm passes. So let me show y'all how slow this train is going. Hold on, this train is coming in, right? I want y'all to see how slow this train is coming in. And I'm gonna tell you this is not normal. You getting ready to see him come by. He is crawling. You see him crawling, and it's not because he's heavy. Those trains, I've been here before. These trains move so fast, it ain't funny. We're talking 70 plus miles an hour. Or you talking about 70 miles at least. He said it's the top speed on this track. I seen these guys, they be hauling ass. They look like they're going a lot faster than 70. You see how he crawling? You want to know why he's crawling? He's crawling because he don't know what that weather is up ahead. So what they're told to do is to slow their ass down. That train don't normally move that slow. Usually they be flying. And when I was coming in, there was another one, and me and him, I was like, let me slow my see what the hell going on. Because if the train slow down, you need to slow down. So that's a good hint for y'all right there. As slow as he going. Yeah. So I slowed my black behind down. So Grumpy. Oh, yeah. So yeah, I said, well, I think they got truck stops. Yeah, they got truck stops there. They got truck stops because we used to go eat at the truck stop. You see, there's one of them. It's got a little restaurant on there. Well, it's not little. It's a big restaurant like Rick Griffin's. Rick Griffin's is semi. That's where he goes to breakfast every morning. And I think this is a restaurant he's talking about. It's right here. And they're really nice, and it is very much like ribs. Right. So that tells you what they're driving into. That tells you because what will happen is if they know there's a tornado, they'll stop that train. That train will stop. It will stop. STOP. And so he told me, he said that's what if they know they're going into bad weather, what you see right now is what they do. So they just slow their ass down. So that's not gonna do. By the way, anybody, I gotta say this. I remind myself. If you're watching the video later on, or if you come in and you saw part of this, give us a like, give us a thumbs up. Even if you don't like it, give us a thumbs up because somebody else might like it. In the word of D Boy stands. Share it out and subscribe and hit the bell to get your notifications. Peace. Anyway, But yeah, so that's kind of what's going on. It's going real slow. So otherwise, everything's okay. The owner hasn't really said too much. We're gonna see what he does when I get back. And if we're gonna have a come to Jesus meeting and I have to clean the truck off. I'm getting my laundry off. But Trucker Bill talked me off the ledge. He said, just hang in there. He said, he just testing the waters. I said, that's the water with the right woman. I ain't from Lubbock. I ain't from the country. I'm a whole different cup of tea. And I'm not knocking folks from the country because some of them is a whole different cup of tea. But yeah, that ain't me. You dealing with a city chick. And an old one who's becoming more and more cynical and less and more fed up with dumb shit. So now I'm gonna go in here and grab me something to eat and come back here and pass out. This little restaurant. It's okay. It's not bad. I think I've had their little burrito before. I don't know what I'm getting today. I really wanted some spaghetti tonight. There's a place up from Monty, and the guy's from Arizona, believe it or not, and he's in Lubbock, and he owns a restaurant. It's a pizza joint, but they do in Texas. You gotta have your feet and everything. So he does pizza, he does pasta, salads, wings, but he also has some barbecue. I never had his barbecue, and he does some catfish. I was like, okay, you know you dealing with some Southern folks when you got all that going on in a pizza joint. So, but his when I stayed at the hotel, they delivered to the hotel, so I had their spaghetti, and their spaghetti was on hit. So I was gonna order. I had my mouth ready for some spaghetti tonight, but it's okay. I told Monty and I was gonna order him a spaghetti too, Grumpy, because I told him I said, well, the only thing because I was thinking I was gonna get in there like 7, and I said, well, if I get in there at 7, have to drop the trailer or whatever I have to do, that could take me anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. And then, by the time I check in, drop trailer, come out, and then have to bobtail over and then get the truck ready. I said, so then the only thing gonna be open is probably that place. I think they serve until 11, 12 o'clock at night. And maybe even later. They might be up to 1 or 2 on the weekends. I can't remember. Anyway, I said, well, we'll go ahead and do it. That train is, girl, that train's still going. It's slow as hell. And it's not, I'm telling you, they taking their time going into whatever that is up there. I'm like, yeah, I'm not even gonna chance it. They said it's gonna be this. This is the warnings are until 7, 8 o'clock tonight. So by that time, my hours will almost be coming back around because I'll do a split and then I'll just ride on in. Well, by in the morning, I have because I'll leave out of here about whatever time in the morning. What time is it here right now? It is 5:23 p.m. Oh, that's right. You my Hawaii person. That's the best I can do, sis. Oh, Lord, Lee, that's the best I can do. My big butt boy. That'd be hilarious. Oh my goodness. That is one place that I've always wanted to see. The Hawaii is Mahalo is I used to work with a guy who was Samoan, and I know this is Hang Loose, and then Mahalo was this Mahalo too? I can't remember. I can't remember if this is Mahalo too. And it's Mahalo, and I know he taught me a few things, but I know that was it. But he was Samoan, so I worked with him. He had a really jacked up name though, and his name was Tafinga. That was his name. That was y'all. I know it's a jacked up name, but that was his name. That was his Samoan name. I was like, wow. You don't even realize how messed up that is. But anyway, ooh, I'm like, alrighty then. And they look like they just light skinned black folks. Hold on. I never tell who I work for. I don't do that, Michelle. I if I'm behind the scenes and it's something where I'm either gonna refer you in or you like I had Larry Smith who was actually a woman. Larry Smith knew kind of guessed who I worked for when she reached out to me. And when I had talked to her, we actually ended up talking on the phone, and I felt comfortable. Then I acknowledged that she was correct on who I worked for, and then she had come over because she had been off the road like I had for a while and had to go out with a trainer, and did not have a good experience and left there shortly after. But I told I tried, I warned her. I look. I ain't gonna sit and lie to you. I'm gonna tell you the truth of the situation. And I told her, I said, you will be here, try to do your 6 months to a year, and then you're gonna go out because after you have a certain number of years experience, you expect a certain treatment. Sorry, y'all, I got cables all stuck in my foot. You expect a certain type of treatment, and if you don't get that treatment, you're gonna bounce. So y'all hear me okay too? I guess y'all hear me. I don't know. I think I had a Bluetooth on, but I guess y'all can hear me okay. I hope y'all hear me okay. Cause I have a Bluetooth. Can y'all hear me okay? Let me know y'all can hear me okay. Cause I didn't think to turn the Bluetooth off. Did I turn? Can y'all hear me okay? I'm presuming y'all can hear me okay. Okay. Um, but I'm very honest with her. I told her I said you'll only be here a certain period of time. That's one of the reasons I don't really tell people where I work because I want to be honest about my experience. If you tell people where you work, um, oh, was low. That's what I was wondering. See, y'all gotta tell me. Can you hear me better now? Because it's probably tied to this. Hold on, let me do this. There we go. How can you hear? Can you hear me much better now? How about? Okay. Yeah, y'all gotta tell me. If you tell me the Bluetooth was on. Okay, that was it. So I just had to turn the Bluetooth off. So, but I usually tell people the truth because trucking, you got a lot of these people out here, which is one of the reasons I got to do that interview with Nikki, because Nikki listened to a lot of truckers on YouTube, and she made some decisions based on listening to certain truckers on YouTube. They'll tell you all the bed, the roses, that the smell is gorgeous. They'll show you $5,000 checks. That's not reality all the time, and that's not reality when you break down. It's not reality if you're on a reefer and your load is rejected and you have to pay an insurance claim. It's not reality all the time. So you need to know truth, good, bad, and ugly. I've told y'all, in my opinion, up to this point, good, bad, and ugly. Do I like the company? Aspects of it, absolutely. The company I'm with, it's not a big company. I like the fact I only go from Lubbock to Cali or Lubbock to another area and then I'm back to Texas. I like the fact I'm running mainly the 40 corridor. I like the fact I'm not running heavy I-80. I like the fact I'm not running the East Coast. That's good. I love the equipment. The equipment is in good shape. It's in way better shape than that starter company I had with the truck pulling to the side and the damn reefer units where you up there trying to bust the rust and I'm breaking my back and breathing hard and putting 400 pounds trying to roll down 40,000 pounds of beef, and we can't roll it down, which we should be able to do in low or high gear because the shit is so rusted. I'm up here underneath here greasing it and spraying it with what's that stuff called? This is stuff that breaks, that's supposed to help with rust. And I'm up here greasing it and spending my money to try to do that, or having the yard dog come over and then giving him a little change for just even taking time out his day to lift your trailer up so I can. I mean, it's no, it ain't WD-40. It's something else. I forgot the name of it. Oh, it's got a bunch of little tools on it. I forgot the name of it, but it's not WD-40. It's something else. But yeah, I can't remember. You funny. Um, but yeah, so I yeah, I is that another slow? Oh man, they cross. It's another one coming real slow. Yeah, they really watching going into that. But yeah, so I no and they got somebody out here from, I think from BN, yeah, he from BNSF. Hold on, I'm gonna turn this around. Let's see if y'all can. I don't know if I can expand it. You see that dude right there? The dude right there. I kind of made it go. He's out here watching the train. Oh, he's taking pictures. But he's from BNS. I think it looked like he had BNSF on the front of his thing. But he taking pictures too. But they going real slow. That ain't the only one. They all crawling like that. I hope it shrunk back down, y'all. But no, I tell people the truth. That's why I don't tell companies I'm with. And behind the scenes, if it was something somebody was coming to this company or in the area and I talked to them, it could be. I'm gonna ask Monty if he know what it is. They could be taking pictures for something else. They do annual. Monty has a series of plates. They do like different things every year. They have a plate, like a plate you eat off of, and it has either a historical. He's got a bunch of them with historical stuff from the trains. Some of them, pictures of the trains. Some of them just artist renderings, snapshots from the trains. So he has like a shitload of plates at the house that he has from the train company. And he talking about, if I cash in my chips, do you want my railroad plates? And I'm not saying that's not anything of value. It's valuable to him. Anyway, y'all, it's just sad. He didn't leave a legacy for his kids. Michelle, I don't remember. Did you work for one of the companies I had worked for in the past? Because if it is, I'll probably know. Michelle, are you Lady Horn? Are you Lady Horn? Are you the one to reach out to me, Lady Horn? Because I had somebody reach out to me called Lady Horn. Is that you? No, Laura Lee, that wasn't it. Okay, now I know who you are. Oh, yeah, yeah, Michelle. You know what? And when you told me about the particular company, and I was going to talk on that a little bit later. I was going to do a video on that later. But, and so I'm going to say this. Let's go ahead and deal with it now. Something to talk about. We all got to start somewhere. Okay, Oh, V. Griffith, I'm sorry. Oh my God. Okay, well, I'm very sorry, sweetie. Where are you on your way to where he's at? Or are you in the same state with your dad's remains? Okay, so you're getting ready to head there. Where's your father? Where did he pass away at? Oh, okay. So dad was kind of special, I take it then, maybe. Oh, ooh, New York. Okay. So did you know your father? Is that what's going on, or you got a father that's kind of like mine? I like lemons. Okay, he was a stranger to you. Okay. Any other siblings that you know of? Or are you the only child by him? I'm gonna come back to the company that your dude is at, Lady Horn. Okay, he left you. Okay. Yeah, but I put salt in them. But yeah, they are good for you. I know they flush your system. Grumpy's too sorry to cut his and squeeze them in the water, so he does the bacon one. Crazy as hell. Okay, the one going this way is going a little bit faster. Oh, so he's a Rolling Stone like my dad, just having a bunch of kids all over the place. Okay, so probably the funeral gonna be a hot ass mess. Well, I'm sorry for your loss. And the one thing I'm gonna challenge you is, even though he was a butthole, in your spirit, you need to let God know you forgive your father for the stuff he did. Because we can't enter into the next level until we forgive those who did us
Wrong. Parents especially, because we're supposed to honor them, even though they may not be honorable. So your way of honoring is just to go ahead and say, God, I forgive them, because you have to forgive them. The thing is, and I'm gonna say this, and a lot of people, I mess with Grumpy a lot, but I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this, and this is a little bit of the minister hat, okay? What God has shown me is that sometimes we don't know another person's journey. We don't know what they went through to make them them. And they may end up like Monty is a massive asshole. I didn't find out that he had a period of his childhood where my grandmother was not present. I also have to challenge myself to ask the question. The woman I know, his mother, as my grandmother, was apple pie and ice cream. Sweet lady. Could never see her do harm to nobody. But yet, as a child, he remembers her stabbing his dad in the leg with a knife. That was a different woman. And what we have to understand is all of us from our youth to now prayerfully have changed. Prayerfully for the better, prayerfully with more wisdom. But that's not always true. And sometimes you have people that do change or they're limited, so you don't know how that impacts them. Like, obviously, things that happened to me in my childhood, I know they impacted me. And some people are walking around here running on a treadmill, not understanding why they act the way they do, because they have not sat down and had any self reflection. They haven't talked. And black people, we famous for not wanting to talk to nobody. We famous for not wanting to go get counseling. When a lot of us need to go talk to somebody about a lot of stuff that happened in our childhood. We have a lot of stuff, and I know those who may not be of our ethnic background, but I'm gonna say a lot of ethnic backgrounds, people who are not of the Anglo mainly, and I hate the word, I hate the race thing, white uh, group majority, supposedly majority in the fact of money, because they're not the majority now in the amount of people. Now in America, minorities are really the majority. If we would wake up and know that, we would be in a different position, but I'm gonna leave that alone. But a lot of us, we don't go get counseling like we should, and unfortunately it impacts us, and we keep rolling to the next generation the same damages. And from African Americans, we still have a lot of damages that have translated from slavery down, and it has impacted us even into how we rear our kids. And unfortunately, that's why I say sometimes it's hard. As much as Grumpy pisses me off at times, I have to forgive. As much as my mother, I don't really deal with her, but I've had to just in my spirit, and I'm gonna probably, prayerfully, I'm getting the just the gumption up to do it. I'm gonna send her something in writing. Just say, I forgive you. I forgive you for everything. I forgive you for not being the mother that I needed. I forgive you for the abuses that I feel I suffered. I forgive you for all of it. And I pray that you get right with God what you need to get right. Because, like I said, we, Monty said something to me, and there's wisdom in it, even though he's special. He said when he went back and he said he apologized to me and all the women and stuff, and even though I'm a firm believer that an apology without truth to it, meaning that you sincerely mean it, meaning that there should be action with the apology, it's a moot point. But he's dealing with his chickens right now. He's dealing with those chickens that have come home to roost, in the word of Malcolm X, cock-a-doodle-doo. He's dealing with them, and that's between him and the Lord. I can't get involved in that. But you have to forgive. I ain't saying you got to show up to the damn funeral. I ain't saying you got to do that. But you sincerely have to have a forgive moment, because you don't know what made him him. You don't know what triggered who he is. He might just have been a dick, but even if that was just who he was, there's usually something behind that. It's usually not something, most people just don't raise up and go, I'm just a dick today. It's like the guy we got in office right now. I told my best friend, I said, I feel sorry for him, because there is something, that being just didn't come about. That little spoiled, narcissistic little boy didn't just come about. He came about because he was created. Somebody did not rear him properly. Otherwise, he would have a different view of humans. He would have a different view of life. He was reared a certain way. And unfortunately, we are dealing with it because we got a bunch of other people who reared in a similar way, a bunch of other grown little boys that voted for him, because of their own inferiority complex, and because of their own ignorance. Like he said, I like the poorly educated because he's poorly educated. He's not an intelligent man. Like, you can tell by the way he speaks that he's not an intelligent individual. But you've got to forgive. And I'm just gonna say that because we can't cross over into glory with unforgiveness. We just can't. So whatever you need to do to rectify that, and sometimes for you to rectify that is to deal with your own hurts. You know, I got my own level of hurts. It's like I had to have to check Grumpy. Well, if your grandfather was there, he would have defended you against your stepfather. Uh, my mother's father. I'm sorry. Didn't you and Francis have? My mother's name is Francis. Didn't Monty and Francis have Shannon? Oh yeah. Well, then where the hell is it in my grandfather's responsibility to defend his granddaughter? The people who should have been in place should have been you and Francis. You weren't in your place, so take some ownership for your shit. Could have heard a pin drop. Take ownership for your shit. Could have heard a pin drop. Because he didn't take ownership for anything. And that's because everybody's always done stuff for him. His mama, his daddy, and whoever else the hell spoiled his ass. There you go. So you gotta everybody got their own journey. We all got their own journey. And unfortunately, that's, and I know I clown. I put tap shoes, clown shoes on. And somebody said here I should have been a comedian. I know. And the older I'm getting, I didn't realize, I'm going to tell y'all the truth, I didn't realize I was sarcastic. I had no idea. I had no idea I was sarcastic. In high school, I didn't realize I was sarcastic. I did not realize I was sarcastic. A very good friend, I'm going to say almost like a best friend, she told me, Jossie said, you are sarcastic as hell. I'm sarcastic. I really, I didn't. But a lot of sarcasm, I'm be honest, what sarcasm is a lot of times, most people are sarcastic, like comedians and stuff. It's a little anger. It's a little anger, and all anger is covered up hurt. A lot of people don't know that. So it's a little anger is covered up hurt for whatever has happened to you in your life. That's what sarcasm oftentimes is. Let me see what you said here. Hold on, brown sugar. Shoot. I love talking to people and sharing. Hold on. I love talking to people and sharing with them what I go through, but my mother and her said the family is like that. They said, okay, we're going to talk about that. That's actually a good one. Okay, Jose, I didn't know your mama's named Francis. Okay. Okay, so y'all getting ready to have me put my ministry hat on. Oh. So I understand that concept, and I know a lot of families, especially in black families. So I don't know if you're watching this right now. I'm going to suggest a sitcom for you. And sometimes I'm a person that sometimes shows speak to me. And for whatever reason, I want you to watch Queen Sugar. Suga. It's an Oprah show. You can watch it on Hulu. Go back if you haven't started watching it. Start with season 1 and watch it through. And when you watch shows, if I make a suggestion, I want you to put on two. I'm very analytical, so even though I watch it maybe for entertainment value, it has to also challenge my mind, and it has to make me think, and it has to have some depth. So, like, for example, I don't like, okay, Micheline, you already know. All right. Have you watched all the season 3 that just came out? Because I think I finished it. I might have to watch a little bit because I might have fallen asleep on the last episode. But I think I finished out the whole thing. Okay. I might have to go back and watch the last episode, which I'll probably do here later. But here's what I'm going to suggest, and the reason I'm going to suggest it, brown sugar. And what I'm going to say is, when I suggest a show, it preaches. It's called Queen Sugar, Suga. Go to Hulu, Hul. If you don't have a Hulu, you can get like a week free or whatever. Try it out, ain't that expensive. And you can stream Queen Sugar on Hulu, okay? Queen Sugar is a sitcom, and it is produced by, the production is under Oprah Winfrey's Harpo Studios. What is the lady's name who does it? I forgot her name. It's a lady who does it. You can watch it on OWN Network, but I stream it on Hulu. The lady who does it, what is her name? I forgot. She's also the one who did the shoot documentary about the prison system and how it's the new form of slavery, and how they translated from slavery to the prison system for black males. She's the one, I forgot this lady's name, but I'm pretty sure it's her. She did the Queen, she actually did Queen Sugar, and Queen Sugar is deep. The depth of it is going to get you where the family is concerned. So I'm going to share this to you because there's a lady there who's what you call the matriarch, the one who holds the family together. And I think her name's Aunt Vi. Aunt Vi, there's a point where one of them is a writer. One of the kids is a writer. And so she begins to tell the truth about the family. In writing the story, she found out from a very close friend of her father that her father was at one point suicidal. She wrote this, I guess, in a book or a piece that was published in the show. And I'm telling you this for a reason, openly. Aunt Vi is pissed because, like your mama and like a lot of people, we gonna keep the family business in the family. I'm gonna say this to you, and to a point, yes, but when it's killing the family and killing people in the family, there's a problem. When the generational curses continue, there's a problem. Okay, so in a point, I understand it to a degree, but I see it as more of a detriment than a help. Okay, so what happens in families is, it's like, I don't know how many of y'all saw the original play with TD Jakes, Woman Thou Art Loose. I don't know how many of y'all saw the original play. I'm not talking about the movie. I'm talking about the original play. If you can ever get your hands, I don't even know if it's on, it might be on YouTube, I don't know. If you can ever watch that original play, I strongly suggest it. The reason is there's a critical part where the little girl is raped by the mama's boyfriend. Okay? The mama comes out, finds out she's raped, and tells her we basically have to keep this a secret because basically she knows in her mind she could get in trouble. So now you have swept up under the carpet again damages that are going to translate for years for that child. And this child is never going to get the help that she needs to move forward. And you also got the pervert who did this to her still walking around free, going to probably do it to another child. Okay? We have to be careful in families. And to me, it's one of the most detrimental things when we don't deal with issues, because if we don't deal with issues, we allow the generational curses to continue in the family line. You can go back, and I think it's David, who was it, King David? I think it's David. One of the daughters was raped. Something happened, if I remember. It's been a while. I have to go back and read the story. I think she was raped by a brother. Okay? And they hid it. They didn't deal with it. And instead, what you see translated in David's line is just drama. It went down to Solomon. It just was a continuous mess. We have to deal with the generational curses. If we don't, they don't get better. They get worse. You know, my father's a sexual addict. That was his whole thing, was sexual addiction. One of my brothers, he told me, he said, so and so got the same issue I had with females. Absolutely. I've seen him go on Facebook and say some very sexually explicit things. Now, where he's better at is he is a father to his children, but his children are girls. Okay? This is something we need to deal with because it's not, we have to think beyond ourselves and we have to look at the future generations. It's one of the reasons I told my brothers, my half brothers, about their father. Now, one of the brothers, I know he won't deal with it. He ain't gonna deal with it. He doesn't have children, thank God, but he won't deal with it. My other brother, I don't know how much he listened to, but you got 2 children. You got a girl and a boy. Now what you need to do is not only keep them away from your family, but now you need to seek God's face on it and say, God, I want every generational curse broken over my life and over my children's life. I need you to intervene because I don't want this, because it's spiritual. I don't want this to continue in the line. But we have to deal with it. And because we don't talk about it and we don't deal with it, you can't get free from it. It's just going to keep going forward. So to tell you to hide stuff is not always the best thing. It's just not. Hey, DL Lieberman, it's just not. And so unfortunately, the damages become the best way I look at it at. And when I look at it, and just and my counseling honestly has been just me and the Lord, and maybe talking to a few friends that are close to me. And I didn't realize how broken I was. And I mean, I have some major breaks. Major I can So for me, I can look at a guy and say, oh, he's attractive, but because of those major breaks, I can't my mind can't go beyond that. I can't think of anything intimate so I could be maybe more normal instead. And now I don't even want to be bothered with females. I don't even want that either. I just want to be left alone. I'll give Like I said, I give me a four-legged dog. I don't trust a lot of people, and I have very little tolerance for BS, and I'm not going to bend a lot now. I know I'm too set and who I am. So it would take a miraculous individual to come into my world. It would just take a miraculous individual. Oh, thank you, DL. Thank you. You know what? I've learned, and what I've realized, originally for a while I didn't want my ministry calling. I didn't, because it was so overwhelming. And I'm not working in the church like I was working before, and the church has its own set of issues. And I don't know that I would have the freedom, unless probably I was either pastoring a church or running my own ministry, to actually minister in the way that I know that I would need to do. But what I realize now is that you really can't help people until you deal with your own stuff, and you can't really deal with your own stuff. I had to have a mirror put up before me, and that's what a lot of my life has been from coming into trucking, because God had to bring me down in order to raise me up. I don't understand. Know if y'all know what I mean. Hey, Malik. I dated somebody who had gone through foster care, and it was a female back when I was actually very active in the gay lifestyle. What she went through in the foster care system, I still remember. Her name was Stacy. That's the only interracial relationship I was ever in. But that baby had been through. She actually been adopted by a family, and the father, the adopted father, had cut a hole in her wall where he would watch her get dressed. And I went in their house and saw it, so she wasn't lying. Everything she told me, she went through. So I do know in the foster system you go through some hellish stuff. And I'm not saying all, but there is a lot of really sick and perverted stuff that happens in that system. Um, I, it's the number of people out here. I was really happy when the hashtag Me Too movement started, because the number of people, male and females, who have gone through all sorts of abuses, mental, emotional, physical, meaning sexual or physical beating, in any kind of physical form, sexually or otherwise. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. And I think because of the thing that Brown Sugar brought up with what stays in the house, we don't want to, basically, we don't want to air our dirty laundry. Well, the problem is we got to deal with laundry, and if you're not willing to deal with it in the house, if you're not willing to deal with it in the house, then I'm gonna have to deal with it outside of the house, because I need my freedom. I can't. You can't move in muck and mire. You just can't. You can't. You can't walk through this world with a bunch of, excuse my French, a bunch of shit on you. You just can't. In order to get freedom, you've got to deal with the issues. Okay, Malik, you already understand. So he said church family and the grandma. Okay, so by that time she's a believer, and she probably had to say some prayers over you. Let's go and go there. But we can't walk in this world. We can't live in this world. I got people. I've never grew up in a drug household. I didn't grow up in that, but I know people who have. And I didn't understand how to minister to them until I understood my own brokenness. And regardless of whether it's drugs, regardless whether it's somebody who has emotional, mental issues, if they're not where they should be as a parent, it is going to impact you in some form, in some fashion. And we can't get through this world, we just can't, without getting some freaking freedom. We just we just can't. We just can't. And you and we walk around in this. I was one lady I had worked with, very sweet lady. She trained us, and she was saying something, and she's talking about a former marriage she had had, and how her husband was very controlling, and she had grown up in a very abusive household as a kid. And when she was talking, I'm listening. Okay, I'm listening to her. Well, as I'm listening to her talk, I began to understand more of the little situation. And as she's talking, I'm like, I'm starting to understand a little bit more. And then she said something about her son being involved with this young woman and how manipulative and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's your generational curse. She said, huh? I said, what did you just describe to me about your marriage? This is part of the generational curse because you still got to deal with the abuses that happened with your father. You've translated it now down to your son. Speak over these things. And she's Christian. Now she's Christian. She was a Mormon lady before. She's Christian now. You need to speak over this because this is the generational curse. That's why he's. And then she sat back and she looked at me because it was like a light bulb came on. Oftentimes, if we're in our own muck and mire, we don't realize we're in muck and mire. That's where we need to step back, and that's really where we need the Holy Spirit of God to come on board and really wake us up and put the mirror before us and show us us. And sometimes what we're going to see is not going to be very pretty, but it's also going to translate back generations. So it's going to translate to what happened to you as a child. I used to tell people, tell me your childhood, I'll tell you the problem. When I did ministry, that was tell me the childhood, I'll tell you the problem, because that's really where all of it starts. Right. Generational curses are for real. And there's generational blessings. Please, we can't have the. A lot of times as humans we stay in the negative without understanding the positive. So we need to flow in our blessings, but we also need to be aware of the generational curses, and we need to ask God to help us break those over us. And I really believe when He said, "Speak to this mountain, it'll move." That's some of the mountains in our lives that we need to